What I've lately been, in the most recent episodes, most obsessed with and fascinated by is the ZFT Manifesto, the destruction by advancement of technology. I felt
Zerstörung durch Fortschritte der Technologie.
Yeah, I should have had you read the German title of the show. Sorry. This bioterrorist cell, with this German influence, it kind of reminds me of a techno version of the Baader-Meinhof gang in a certain way. I wondered where that manifesto, the idea for the manifesto, came from.
What was the original idea? I think part of it was from studying one of Harvard's students, which was a Unabomber. The Unabomber wrote a technological manifesto that talked about, mind control and what was the morality of a technologically advanced society and its progress as an end in itself, a dangerous thing to pursue, the way that some primitive cultures remain the same. So it was very much off of kind of doing homework about the kinds of things that were going on at Harvard, where the character of Walter Bishop studied in the 60s and 70s. And from that, we got this idea of, what if we made it seem as if Walter had written the Unabomber's manifesto, and it was this genuinely intellectual attempt to grapple with technology, which is one of the themes of the show always.
Well, and I'm glad to hear you say that about the 60s influence and someone of Walter's generation, because I also think that there's a very strong kind of strand of 60s radicalism / utopianism / millennialism to this show. Yeah. And the way the counterculture of that period grappled with those issues and took, if necessary, violent action to stop things that they felt strongly about.
And also the notion of questioning reality and questioning constructs and questioning authority, all things that Walter and William Bell were very much, right place, right time for their minds. And is everything that we perceive, is this the only reality? And it's John. Often John will feed us ideas like, "Oh, have you guys read such and such?" Or it's very much of something that you feel strongly about. Yes.
Certainly, I've observed that there is a genuine fascination by contemporary youth with what we call loosely the 60s. An absolutely genuine fascination with what was happening 70s in the minds of their now parents, perhaps grandparents. The music of the time is still phenomenal in terms of the effect it has on people. It was an amazing place to grow up, and there was a mental freedom at that time that was unique. And as I say, I've seen this in youth. They still, what on earth happened then? It didn't sustain them. I mean, they grew into older people like me, but it was an extraordinary time, and it was a time of amazing potential, where youth believed that the world could be changed. They believed that they could shift ideas that were entrenched in society, and in fact did, in a massive way. That's why it's so appealing, Ken, and that's why we go back to it, and I'm sure that's why audiences are relating, for example, to Walter. The older folks say, "Yes, I remember." Because he hasn't grown old, he stayed young in his mind. And then the younger people saying, that's sort of really cool to be there.
It's my very next thing I've scrolled down here is Walter a hippie whose mind was blown by science as well as drugs?
Walter or John? I'm just asking.
I'm going to revoke that release if you keep that up.
It makes me, sometimes there are some
Not
things...
tonight.
Okay. It almost reminds me of Firesign Theater sometimes. It's like I can imagine Walter saying, "Don't crush that dwarf, hand me the pliers."
The thing about this is, and this is an answer to the
Claps for Firesign Theater. Excellent.
You didn't have to be a hippie to try drugs in the 60s. You didn't. Right. I'm not saying it was the right thing, but there was a wave that took you, whether you were a lawyer or a hippie.
I think that was Penny laughing back there.
No, that's Penny over there. Oh. So it wasn't only the hippies and the flower children that did that, or listened to the music, or got off on Tom Waits and all that. It was everybody did. It was something in the air, to use a term that we use. It was an amazing place to be. So Walter was, in fact, a very serious science student, but he still did those things. And he still had free love for the first time in several generations, and all the things that went with it, you know, the invention of the pill. All those things that you see little... No, it's true. It was amazing. I think I've said enough, Ken.